Hi friends, welcome back to your Independence Station. Today is Tuesday, which means that we are going to be working with our prefixes, roots, or suffixes. And today is the first day when we're really starting to dive into this. So what we're going to focus on today and for the next couple of weeks are prefixes. Prefixes are the beginning parts of some words. So not all words have prefixes, but words that do have prefixes, those prefixes help us figure out what the word means. So I'm going to start by introducing you to this specific prefix. This prefix is pre. Anytime that the prefix pre shows up in a word, it actually means before. So the word will have something to do with before. And I'm going to explain this a little bit more to you, but so that we can remember this, I have my prefix up here, and I'm going to make that really well seen here, pre, because that's what we're focusing on, and we're going to see that in the beginning of all the words we're going to talk about right now. Pre means before. So as we're looking at these words with the prefix pre, we're going to notice that they have something in their meaning that has to do with doing something before, maybe seeing something before. So let's hop into this really quickly. So I'm going to give you the first example. And the first example I'm going to give you is preview. I'm going to give you just a second just to think about that. What do you think preview means? Preview. So I see that chunk pre, and remember, prefixes come right in the beginning of the word. So pre is in the beginning. Preview. There's our base view. So preview. What does it mean to view something? Good. To view something means to see it. So previewing might mean to see it before. Let me see. I'll give you a sentence. So I went to the movies to go see Lego Movie, and before the movie started, the theater played previews. The theater played previews before the movie started. Oh, so pre means before and view means to see. So that means that this is what I'm seeing before the movie started. And previews are also like little clips of movies before they come out to kind of show you what the movie's about to see if you're interested in them. So previews are little clips of the movie that you see before the movie comes out. That's pretty cool. So preview means to see it before. And there's that prefix pre, which means before. Okay, I'm going to give you another example. Give you another word with a prefix pre. Okay? So I'm going to give you this word. Prepay. And there's my prefix pre. Remember, prefixes come at the beginning of some words and they help us figure out what the word means or a definition for the word. Prepay. I'm going to use this in a sentence, okay? So I went to a restaurant and before I could eat, I had to prepay. So at the restaurant where I went, before I could eat, I had to prepay. What do you think prepay means? Use that sentence and then also use the prefix pre, which we know means before. If you think you know what prepay means, go ahead and say it out loud. Good, I heard some friends saying it. So prepay means to pay before. So if I prepaid for my food before I got it, that means I paid for my food before I got it. So I had to prepay before I could get my food. Good. So I'm going to give you one more example of this, okay? So the word I'm going to give you now is predict. And this one's a little bit trickier because predict is one of those words that we've been using a lot, especially with this story, because I ask you to predict something when I want you to think about what's going to happen. I'm sorry, I know there's a little bit of a glare there. Try to block it out from my light. But predict, okay? So pre means before, and this part, D-I-C-T, actually means to say. So predict. So let me see. I want you to predict what will happen. Well, a prediction is actually something that we think is going to happen before we find out by reading. So if I'm making a prediction about the story, I'm kind of guessing what's going to happen before I read it. That's actually a strategy of really good readers. So when I ask you to predict something, I'm asking you to think about what will happen next before you actually read what the author wrote. So predict means to say what will happen before you read it. So I want you on the lookout for some words that might have this prefix pre in them. And remember, not all words have a prefix. So for instance, I might see this word premium. Premium means like something really special. And while it looks like it has the prefix pre in it, and it sounds like it does, this is actually not a prefix. It's just a chunk in the word. And the reason why it's not a prefix here is because it doesn't help us figure out the definition or the meaning of the word. So in this word, premium doesn't mean anything about something happening before. So this actually isn't a prefix here, it's just a chunk. But in preview, prepay, and predict, it is a prefix because it helps us determine the definition or meaning. Preview means to see it before. Prepay means to pay before. Predict means to say it before. Okay, so I want you on the lookout for some words with pre. Now we're going to hop into our story for today. We're just going to read a little bit. So we're reading The Chocolate Touch, and we are actually just about to finish up chapter 3, I believe. Let me double check. We're actually about to finish up chapter 2. So the last thing we read in the story was John went to the chocolate shop, and the store owner was acting really strange, and he kept kind of like tempting him to see if he would like spend that quarter he found, which wasn't really a quarter, it was like kind of a strange coin, to see if he would spend that strange coin on a box of chocolates. And John did, but when he opened the box of chocolates, there was only one piece of chocolate in it. It was a golden box, and then there was a piece of chocolate wrapped in like golden paper inside. And John got home, he knew he wasn't supposed to be eating any candy, so he snuck upstairs, took his piece of chocolate, and hid it in his room. And the next thing we know, while they're at dinner, John's like, I'm so tired, which was really unlike him because normally he doesn't like to go to bed. So his mom was like, okay, if you're tired, take your tonic, which is the medicine from the doctor that's supposed to have like all of the nutrients from the food he should be eating instead of just candy. And so John goes, okay, and he drank it up really fast, even though it tasted gross. He didn't even put up a fight, and then he snuck upstairs. So we made some inferences yesterday, and we made some predictions yesterday. We said what was going to happen before we read it, and a lot of people said that they think John did it so that he could go upstairs and eat the candy. So let's see what happens. We're going to finish this chapter number 2. A few seconds after the bedroom door had closed behind his mother, John leaped to the floor, got down on his hands and knees, and felt under the bed for his candy box. He soon had it on the pillow and set to work unfastening it. So he's got it, and he's starting to pull the bow apart, take the lid off. First, he took the thin outer sheet of cellophane. Then he lifted off the lid. Then he removed the sheet of cardboard. Then he pulled off a square of heavy tin foil. Then he took out a layer of shredded paper. As the wrappings piled up around him, John became rather anxious. At last he came to a small central ball of cotton batting, and there, right in the middle, was a little golden ball. He picked at the ball with his fingernail and peeled away the gold paper, revealing a tiny piece of plain chocolate. It was the only piece of chocolate in the whole box. So I want you to think about that for a second. He had this giant box. If you remember from the last part of the story we read, it was as big as a box his dad might bring home for Christmas. And he took it off. He had to take off the wrapper on the outside, the bow. He had to take off the lid. He had to take off the cardboard on the inside. Then there was paper inside. Then he took out the cotton. And then, right in the middle of all of that paper and cotton and plastic and just space in this giant box, there was only one piece of chocolate in it. And he said it looked just like a regular piece of chocolate. That's pretty strange. Feeling deeply disappointed, John nevertheless put it in his mouth. He had never tasted a chocolate quite like it. It was the most chocolatey chocolate he had ever encountered. So it says that he felt really deeply disappointed, but he was deeply disappointed when he noticed that there was only one piece of chocolate in it, but then we hear his attitude changing. So it says, deeply disappointed, John nevertheless put the chocolate in his mouth. He never tasted a chocolate quite like it. It was the most chocolatey chocolate he had ever encountered. So he was feeling disappointed that there was only one piece, but I want you to think about how is he feeling now that he tasted this if he described the chocolate as the most chocolatey chocolate he had ever encountered. So what you're going to do right now is either click in the description or go to my schedule and click on it there. You're going to take the book survey. The book survey is going to ask you 2 questions. One is going to ask you what the meaning of the word prefix is, and the other one is going to ask you, how do you think John felt when we hear that he described the chocolate as the most chocolatey chocolate he had ever encountered? There will be a bonus question on there. If you can think of another word that uses the prefix pre, I want you to type it in there for us, okay? So go ahead and do that right now. Either click in the description here or go to my schedule and click on it there. See you soon, friends.